You're listening to Legends and Shadows, where folklore, ghost stories, and eerie tales are brought to life. I'm Vicky Jo, a voice actor and narrator, and together we'll wander through haunted roads, shadowed moors, and the myths that still linger in the air around us. Tonight our story stays on Dartmoor. We go to a lonely stretch of road where drivers lose control and unseen hands take hold. This is the story of the Hairy Hands of Dartmoor. The B3212 cuts through the wild expanse of Dartmoor, a narrow, twisting road that seems to vanish into the mist. By daylight, it's beautiful. Granite tors rise like ancient bones, and the air tastes of peat and rain. Darkness falls. The moor changes. The silence grows thick. The wind sounds like breathing. Locals will tell you the road between Postbridge and Two Bridges is cursed. Engines falter there, headlights flicker, and sometimes, even when your hands are firm on the wheel, something else takes control. They call them the Hairy Hands. A pair of ghostly, powerful, hairy hands that seize the steering wheel or the handlebars, wrenching it suddenly toward the ditch or the granite walls. No one knows where they come from, but the accidents are real. The earliest tales reach back to the early 1900s, when motor travel was still new, a novelty on Dartmoor's winding tracks. A doctor from Princetown once told how his horse bolted on that stretch of road for no reason at all, nearly throwing him beneath the wheels of his own trap. But it was in 1921 that the legend took hold, the year of the first death. Dr. E.H. Helby, medical officer at Dartmoor Prison, was riding his motorcycle with his two children in a sidecar. It was a clear June afternoon. The road was quiet, and then, in a heartbeat, the bike veered sharply, skidded and overturned. The children survived. Dr. Helby did not. No one could explain it. The tyres were fine, the road dry, the machine in perfect order. A week later, another motorcyclist wrote to the Western Morning News. His account sent a chill through every reader in Devon. Suddenly something seized my hands. Large, muscular, hairy hands. They gripped my wrists and twisted with such strength I could scarcely fight them off. I prayed aloud, and the thing was gone. The paper dubbed it the Hairy Hands of Dartmoor, and the moor has never shaken the name. Over the next few years, stories multiplied. Cyclists thrown from their bikes, horses spooked, cars swerving into the verge. A woman in 1924, camping near the road, woke in the night to find a single hairy hand clawing at her caravan window. She screamed, made the sign of the cross, and it vanished, leaving only smudges on the glass. Another motorist, years later, said, "I felt something cold and coarse close over mine, the hands of a great ape, but stronger, full of rage. My own hands no longer obeyed me. It became a Dartmoor dread, that feeling of not being alone behind the wheel." Rational minds tried to make sense of it. Some blamed exhaustion, those early motorcyclists riding for hours across open moor, eyes stinging from wind and rain. Others said it was magnetic interference from the granite itself, that the rocks beneath the moor carried veins of metal that disturbed compass needles and minds alike. But on Dartmoor, reason rarely survives contact with the dark. Old stories whispered of a man who lived near Postbridge long before the road was built. A reclusive blacksmith with enormous hairy hands. Cruel, the villagers said. Fond of his drink, prone to rage. One winter, he died in a fire, trapped in his smithy as the roof collapsed. And from that night onward, travellers claim to feel his grip in the dark. Others tell of a convict from Dartmoor prison who escaped across the moor and was never found. A murderer, perhaps, or a thief who died in the bogs. And some say his restless spirit still tries to seize the reins, to stop any soul from escaping the moor alive. In 1948, long after the original panic faded, a soldier returning home from leave wrote of his encounter. He'd borrowed his brother's motorbike and taken the road through Postbridge. The fog was thick, the moor silent. "The handlebars jerked," he wrote. "At first, I thought it was the wind. Then I felt them. Rough, hairy hands gripping tight over mine. I froze. They were heavy, strong. I could see nothing. I shouted, and the sound died in my throat. Then, just as suddenly, they were gone. But the feeling of them never left." He never rode that road again. If you visit Dartmoor, you'll notice something strange about that stretch of road. It seems ordinary until you stop. Then the quiet becomes unnatural. The wind dies, the air thickens, the moor feels aware. And every year, someone new hears the whisper of those old tales and tightens their grip just a little more. Local farmers still warn travellers not to stop there after dark. One man, a shepherd from near Powdermills, told a journalist in the 1970s, "The moor's got memory. It keeps what it likes, and if it takes your hands, you best let go, or it'll take the rest of you." The legend might have faded, if not for one last chilling account. In 2008, a driver who'd pulled over to photograph the tours reported feeling something brush the back of her neck. She turned. No one there. Moments later, her car rolled forward by itself, handbrake still on. She swore she heard breathing in the back seat. Even skeptics find the atmosphere here unsettling. Some say the moor magnifies human fear, the vast emptiness pressing down until you invent something to fill it. Others think the legend feeds itself. The more it's told, the stronger it grows. And maybe that's true. Maybe the hands are only in our minds. But on a moonless night, when the fog clings low and the road narrows to a thread, it's easy to believe there's something in the dark, waiting to take control. If you ever find yourself driving across Dartmoor, alone, the headlights cutting tunnels through the mist, and you feel the steering wheel twitch, hold fast. If it jerks again, harder this time, whisper a prayer or curse or whatever comes to you. Because, whether it's the ghost of a blacksmith, a convict, or the moor itself, the hairy hands don't care who you are. They only want control. And if you see them, it's already too late. So keep your eyes on the road. Keep your hands steady, and if you feel another set close over yours, don't look down. That was the story of the Hairy Hands of Dartmoor. If you enjoyed this episode of Legends and Shadows, follow, like, and share. It helps these stories find new ears in the dark. You can also hear it wherever you listen to podcasts. Until next time, keep your lantern close and beware the shadows.